Hello, chat. Hello, chat. Welcome in, everyone. Happy to see you back. I'm Chef Jay Tay. Happy to see you. What's new? What's happening? Hi there, JK. Welcome in, Muskeg. Hi, T. Hi, Nan Reader. Welcome, 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 welcome. Happy to see everyone. Hopefully you are doing well. Got everything going here nicely, I think. Hey, Saucy. Hey, Soph. Hi, Hammock. Science Center. That sounds... Well, that could go two ways. Like, I always enjoy a trip to the Science Center. I'm sure it would be different if the Science Center is full of a bunch of kids. So I guess I sort of expect it was both, but yeah. Well, it's who we want to be teaching, and it's frankly the sign of a good place, you know, that's busy. It's the problem with success is success. Hey, Sniper. The wording looks Spanish to me. What, you don't want a challenge? Next message, someone's gonna solve it. That joke reminds me of the fact that I'm still irritated that Bobby Flay didn't name his first daughter Sue. Yes, I stole that joke too, but it's still good. No, that's not what I wanted. Work with me, computer. Do what I want you to do. Be intuitive. Thank you all for joining me. I appreciate your joining me. Cheers. That is our plans for tonight here. I've had that out maybe 15-20 minutes. I should have got it out even earlier than now. I want this up to basically room temp for when we sear it. Completely up to room temp. And no, I haven't read all the science on, this is the perfect way to do that. We're not going to coat it in koji. We're not going to, I'm just going to sear the thing. The major thing we're doing is dessert tonight, actually. Let's see here. I think we need to start with our puff pastry and our dessert, actually, here. Not making fresh puff pastry. Not spending forever. I actually should look and see if I can find myself like a simple lamination machine. Like, I looked a couple of years ago. I looked when I started my business, like, I don't know how long ago, but there's gotta be a cheaper option for doing lamination than buying a multi-$1,000 machine. Just get me a hand crank roller for at home. Even those are a fortune. So we'll start defrosting our puff pastry here. While I'm doing that, we're going to get apples out. Oh, that's broccoli. Where's the apples at? Did I leave the apples on the counter? Where did I hide the apples? Oh, they're back there. Why I put the apples where I normally put my meat products is a little confusing. Was that loud? I went with these apples because I haven't tried them before. When I was in the store, I was a little bit frustrated when I looked them up, because they basically told me it was an all-purpose apple, what I searched for. You know, like, good for general eating, good for baking, good for, you know, I wanted to find something that maybe had a good caramelization to it for what we're planning tonight. So I have no idea how this is going to turn out as far as the apple. But these are Wild Twist apples, I think is the name. They're a cross between Honeycrisp and Pink Lady, I think. Most of it was there, Sniper. I'm not going to sit there and double check it letter for letter. I'm going to trust the random script part of my script because it's not very custom. It's randomization stuff pretty built in. They're not 100% random either, but we'll not get into that. This is probably all I needed for tonight's dinner. We'll see. Nice flavor. Pretty sharp though. Like, I would call this actually just under a Granny Smith as far as tartness. I mean, it's not green, but it's got more sweetness to it at the same time though. Melt a little bit of butter. A little too thin. All right, this is the excess anyways. Clean the sign counter off over here so that I can set the puff pastry over here for a bit. Okay, and I'll make sure I'm doing this right, or I'm going to have it right. I am going to cheat a bit here. I'm going to go ahead and cut the puff pastry in half here. Lay it over here for a moment. Without touching what we're actually cooking there. Just give me some rough visual guidelines on where I'm placing my apples. And darn it, I forgot the next step, the step before this. That's why I melted the butter. Not that we don't need it to, we need it to keep it from sticking to the parchment. It is so that we have that butter and fat there, the oil on the apple. Now we repeat the process on the other side. You could use Brie if you preferred. Now it's decision time. I had originally hoped, I had forgotten what the shape of the puff pastry, even though it's like most standard puff pastry you could buy on earth. Oven. Welcome in, Jay. My original hopes was to do this in a circle. And several of them I've seen have been sort of splayed out like this, but not to the degree that I've done this. So I'm almost tempted to turn this into 4 at this point. Or treat it sort of like 4. Yeah, let's treat it like 4, but keep it as it is. This appliance back here would be the Runter Special that I have in this house. It's a gas oven or gas range. It's not anything really exotic. What makes it interesting to you? That cheese has some funk. I can smell it. I can smell it. I can taste it too. It might be the coloring. I have, they're starting to burn away, which I really need to replace them because they're not looking all that hot. Silicone mats, sorry, neither of those. Teflon. Thin layers of Teflon sheet that lay down in the bottom so that nothing really sticks to the bottom of it. Although around the burners themselves, they're starting to burn away. That's why it's sort of white there. Here, if I zoom in on one of them, it'll be more obvious. So like, this is just a protective sheet that makes it really easy to clean. And I'm also going to coat the top of my puff pastry, or in this case, the bottom of my puff pastry, with butter. Might as well start the oven up here too, huh? There is 4 burners on top. So just coating the tops of these puff pastries with the rest of that butter that I melted. No worries. And then buttered side down over the top of all of that. To explain myself, chat, by the way, I'm somewhat following. This has been the general theme here of what I'm doing here. The thin sliced apple on the bottom of a pan with brie or another soft cheese, and then puff pastry on top has been a recent TikTok trend. And so I am giving it a shot. Nothing too exotic about this. It should work out fine. So I'm gonna set these over here and let them rest. And clean up the counter over here from the butter. You'll note I didn't add any real sugar there. I didn't do, if they're not sweet enough, I figured there are 2 things that I could do to up the sweetness level with this. But with the cheese there, you don't necessarily want a ton of sugar. And so ways I would add more sweetness to this once it's done out of the oven would be to powder sugar it, which is a great way to cover it up if the apples don't come off cleanly off of the parchment. And the other one would be to drizzle honey over the whole thing until it's just drenched in it. Decent apple. I like this. It's not my favorite. It's not absolute all-star. It's a nice balance. It's an all-around apple. It's a nice. I was gonna say it's a nice balance between the tart Granny Smith aisle and the typical sweet. Wild Twist. It is a cross between, I believe, Honeycrisp and Pink Lady. It's the first time I had seen it too, but mentioned it to the kid at the register, and he talked about it like it was been around for years. Like, probably trying to push it, and so it's probably in the stuff they're telling everyone right now. Okay. Steak. We're good with that. Let's get our taters going. I don't remember what I said in the dinner command I'm going to do for my potatoes tonight. What am I doing with my potatoes? Dinner command? Button, why didn't you work? What's with the simple pork chop dinner? No, it's not a simple pork chop dinner. Ribeye steak dinner. What are you doing, bot? I also started my stream without properly setting up the YouTube streaming page before going live today. I've done this a couple of times now. And so it started streaming everything on YouTube as though my stream from like 2 weeks ago. And so I had to manually stop streaming on YouTube, delete that video, set up the proper stream, and restart YouTube during that 15-minute startup. Which is not that much, but every little thing that tightens it down, you ups the anxiety. Oh, I gotta get this done before we go live. It's real fun when Microsoft resets all my audio settings, or there's an update that needs to happen, or I've been procrastinating on the update for like 3 weeks and it's got to happen. Both of which happen. I don't like updating things immediately on certain things. Like, it's good to have constant updates and be up to date, but to get that immediate update, there's just been so many problems with immediate updates over my lifetime that, yeah, give it a day or two. So since I didn't specify, I think I'm just going to boil these tonight. So I'll give them all a halve. There's a couple internet companies that realize that now. Oh yeah, these little guys are great. They've nailed me. They've got me hooked on these things. I use them for all sorts of stuff. They're my general purpose potato. little paler than usual, though. They usually have a real nice gold color to them. Maybe the time of year. Maybe where they're sourcing them right now. Leftover purple cabbage. Oven coming to 400. Take a few of these limp outer leaves off of this lettuce. Lettuce isn't the freshest anymore. I don't like how that one leaf looks either. Hey Chad, I made a spinning salad. I'm going to use my new grater. We're going to see how great my grater is. Not sure if I need to tap this side out regularly or because it's clogging up. Nice fine cut though. Like that is shredded. Hi, Callie. Welcome, welcome. I'm doing super. So that's usually my answer when I'm making soup. Working on a salad right now, even though it's not a very exotic salad. I'm just shredding some carrot to throw in with some cabbage and green lettuce, or romaine. Well, that cleaned up nicely. What have I done with you? There you are. Fluffy carrot. I like chicken. I'm not necessarily a particular fan of one cut over the other. Usually it's more of a what I'm using it for. And frankly, don't really think we should. Like, there's a whole animal we're using. We should use all of it. What are we doing else into this? Let's do... Let's finish off the lemon champagne vinegar. Come here, bottle. That's pretty good. I'm gonna add a bit of bottled lemon to that as well. Up the lemon. Do I want to? Nah, we'll skip it. I was debating if I wanted to add a little mustard to that, and I think we're gonna skip it. And then olive oil. So we've got our salad mixings mixed together, our carrot, our cabbage, our romaine. Now we've got our basic vinaigrette stuff set up. And now I'm putting together some drier goods to put on top. Bacon bits. Nutritional yeast. So there's our salad. Maybe add some salt and pepper to this action. A little MSG too, why not? Okay, salad's set. If I were from the UK, I'd probably say it's sorted. And dice up some leftover red onion from the onion I chopped up last stream. Poll for chat. Is music too loud? Like, could it be quieter? Would it work for you quieter? I was sort of thinking that it was... I've got it up a little louder than... I think it's maybe people using headphones and stuff like that. It would be maybe on the edge of being too loud. Thank you, Packet Pot. I will leave it as is then. I appreciate the feedback. Not dealing with stems tonight. We're just doing a little broccoli. Put along with things. Class dismissed. Sorry. All right, now that we chop those up a bit finer, I think that'll work nicely. Yeah. that set for that. We need you out of the way. We need you out of the way. My initial thoughts are 20 minutes, but let's see what the package says on the puff pastry. Interesting. Guess they don't want the legal hassles of actually explaining how to use their recipe as is. Like, all it has here is thawing recipes. It doesn't have, like, it's got a recipe for use it as a recipe with a Napoleon, but there's no just, you're gonna bake puff pastry, time and temp. Interesting. But I think we're gonna go ahead and throw these into the oven now for a solid 20 minutes and see how they turn out. Add a bit of salt in with our boiling water. Start doing onions for broccoli. I guess that's done for. What else do we need to get going here? Like, I feel like I need to be doing stuff at all times. Whether I need to be doing things at all times. I really should be focusing on talking more and engaging chat more. I hope you're all having a good evening. I'm not Mr. Constant Talk. What am I going to do with this other Wild Twist apple? Put it back in the fridge. Well, if you went to the Science Center, yeah, I can, yeah. Your senses have to have been maxed out for the day. Salt in with the onions. I actually would equate it somewhat similar to streaming because, like, cooking is not difficult at all. And it is very much relaxing when I'm doing it at home myself. And you add in all of the recording, which is really that, and then the streaming and interacting with people and trying to juggle, and the brain just goes, no, just no. Now I get the onions started, I'm going to turn them way down, cook them slowly while we wait on our potatoes to come to a full boil. You can probably give those a stir too. I don't know how some of the streamers just do hours and hours, especially like the food and drink that, like, I've joked about it before, like streamers that'll do like a 4 or 5 hour stream and make grilled cheese. And I don't know how. On both fact, like, how they did a 4 or 5 hour stream standing, engaging in chat and interacting without wanting to fall asleep. And two, how little they accomplished during that same time period. Oh, I don't think it's that. In fact, I think chat taught me quite a bit compared to a lot of other streamers out there and the numbers they have for the number of people actually chatting. And myself, I don't like chatting when I'm watching streams. I occasionally get hooked into chatting a little bit. I'll hit a question or something, the streamer will hook me. But in general, I feel like 90% of the time when I put something in chat, I'm putting my foot in my mouth. Because of timing, because of perceptions, because there's chef in my name. That one sort of irks me too. Like, I think some people are like put off by the idea of me having chef in my name. When to me, it's more symbolizing what I'm doing as far as streaming. I'm cooking on stream. Like, that's what I do for streaming. And I'm not, saying I'm the boss. I'm in charge of any of you. Because in other languages, it could be interpreted as that. Caffeine would be the PG substance, yes. Yeah, muskeg, but I think it's seen differently when someone named Chef goes talking in chat of another cooking channel versus, say, Sniper, American Sniper, going into a game that's heavily sniping based and saying something. Like, I almost feel like if I'm interacting in a lot of, like, I don't even like the fact that I go into a lot of other cooking channels and just by being there, they're like, well, go check out Chef Jay Tay. He goes stream. Like, I just wanted to say, hey, you know? I actually think that sort of, the affiliates all sort of engage in that sort of a thing, whereas the partners just automatically have a tag, and I don't sort of irks me the what's advertising, what's not advertising, and I have my own things about it too, but it's really only been 10 minutes since I put the puff pastry in. Like, how's it going this slow? Let's see what we got going on here. What else we have going on here? Nope, not there. Let's check the bot and see what's new in news. Why the pit is getting mentioned in with my food industry stuff is impressive SEO. Nothing but restaurants closing. There's nothing new. Everyone's just closing shop. Which, I should say, chat, if you're not paying attention, things with the economy are really strange right now. Really strange. Like, I don't even know what to believe or not to believe with the numbers out there. It just doesn't really... Like, why are we instructing Fannie and Freddie to buy bonds? Ooh, easy scramble. Sniper gets sniped again. Glance at our puff pastries. Ooh, those are looking lovely. I think I might give them... I'm going to give those... Oh, do we give it the full 5 minutes? I think I'm going to give it the full 5 minutes. It's on the edge of being like 1, 2 and pull it out. And we need butter. We can use this with more butter. onion powder. Oh, the restaurant industry since actually slightly before COVID has been in an absolute downturn. Actually, 2008, maybe the starts of the financial stuff just trickling down over time, but certainly COVID. And we're just now getting out of the things that happened from COVID because COVID was 5 years ago. If you think most leases are 5 years, we're just past that trouble for a lot of these businesses. Because the reality of the restaurant industry is your profits in many cases are based much more on your real estate deal and your labor costs than your food product and your sales. It's really sort of sad in that fact. And so, yeah, it's been an apocalypse as far as restaurant closures because there's not new restaurants or new themes coming to replace them. There's consolidation and there's more of the same restaurants. Yeah. Well, we had COVID. We've had the delivery movement. Those are looking lovely. The cheese is spread a bit more than I want, but that is looking pretty awesome right there. I don't know where to set these right now. I do think I want to try and push that cheese while it is still mobile so that it is closer to the edges here of everything else. So best to pull it away from the parchment. And it's still sort of flowing away from it because it's still warm enough, so we'll have to probably do this once or twice to help it. Because I want those crispy cheese bits. I don't know if it will be looking the best when we flip it over to have done this, but I still want the cheesy bits. It does mean that I probably overdid the cheese for this. I'm gonna throw some half and half in here too. Melt the butter in half and half, and the onion, we're going to add some salt and some pepper over there too. This is all going to be for the potatoes. And I will see you when you get back from the ad break. I'm not going to do anything until we get back. Other than add MSG too. Crushed the garlic earlier. This garlic's for with the steak. I'm going to throw that in the pan after we get that and the butter going with it. But yeah, restaurant industry, I got distracted there by pulling the stuff out of the oven. COVID was definitely a downturn from the industry, and it was a really big one for some of the bigger markets. Like the LA market got absolutely decimated by COVID because the politicians kept changing the rules on them. And they like gave them curblets and then took them away, and then I don't really remember the full series of events, but basically they had a whole bunch of the restaurateurs in LA spend thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars trying to set up extra outdoor spaces so that they could keep their numbers up and keep business. And then LA turned around and said, well, no, you can't do that after we already said you could. And I am certain that other things similar to that happened in other locations. But before COVID and during COVID and now after COVID is we've had the whole restaurant delivery phenomenon, and everywhere you look now, you know, you have DoorDash, you have other options for underpaid driver to bring you food that costs more for the restaurant, and the only one profiting over this system is Wall Street. And that has most certainly killed a large number of smaller restaurants that didn't want to sit there and go through hoops and set up their places for 50 different delivery services and have to deal with things like Yelp. During COVID, Yelp set up a system to do charity for businesses without even the businesses is a part of it. Like, there was so much that went on during COVID in that time period that just absolutely shat on restaurants. That, like, when COVID hit, I was telling people, like, I was here on stream saying that, you know, the industry's done for 5 years. Like, fine dining, like, even now we're just starting to see some new things as far as TV and stuff like that, as far as fine dining. Like, it's basically the same world as it was 5 years ago is fine dining. There's no new Master Chef. There's no new... Well, and the worst part is how much Mickey D's has gone up in price since then. And that's also the delivery thing. Because now you can order from, you know, fast casual restaurant, Applebee's or whatever. Not saying that Applebee's is necessarily a better product, but you can order from the place and get it delivered to you the same as from McDonald's. So why are you buying it from McDonald's at the same price? I'm sorry, I'm not trying to criticize you for buying McDonald's, but that's where the market is. That's what the restaurateurs are seeing. We're in a place where the fast food is sort of as a whole sort of dying too. Like, even you've got really weird things going on in fast food. I was mentioning the other night that Shake Shack actually has an Ozempic meal. If you person eats fast food on Ozempic with price of Ozempic to lose weight. We all done with our commercial time here? Yes, most certainly done with our commercial time here. Let's see if we can't flip one of these. Or both of these. Ooh, that was a problem that I didn't consider. We have to flip these. We'll wait on that, I think. Okay. Let's deal with potatoes. And get our broccoli going. Ozempic is one of the leading new version of weight loss drugs that are out there. They were originally designed all for like diabetic things, but people are losing weight on them. They apparently just released one that's a pill form one, but like, yeah, like. Be careful of steam. Hi, Mimic. No, they're not selling the weight loss. Well, if it was a different country, maybe. But no, they're making menus at a fast food restaurant to cater to people that are on a weight loss drug. So, yeah. So potatoes chilling, sitting there with full flame on our onions once again. Add a bit of water to here. Wait for the pan to warm up a second. Go ahead and season our steak up here. Add our broccoli to the onions and water there. Start steaming them. Hit them with a bit more salt. Pepper. We can also add, YouTube and TikTok demystifying who knows how much of the cooking world to the average home cook that didn't have any instruction or home teach or, basically had to read it. If you didn't have a family member teach you to cook. Now you can just Google it. All right, now we've got the steak pan on full heat here. There's that too, Pento. Like the other, a lot of these restaurants that are closing up, though, are mom and pop restaurants, and I feel strongly for mom and pop restaurants on one hand. On the other hand, so many mom and pop restaurants are really just reselling Cisco, Aramark, redoing the same, sort of recipes, redoing the same sort of stuff. I don't know how to feel about some of this, and some of it I feel sad about, and some of it's good. So it's... Ooh, we got a bit of a smoke going here now. Good. Pan getting nice and warm now. Let's put this steak on the stove. No! No! There we go. That's a little better. Heat off on the broccoli. this is how I think I'm going to handle these desserts. We're going to take this pan of parchment, put it over the top, and we're just going to flip them. Uh-oh. Parchment and everything is sticking to the top pan somehow. I think those actually turned out pretty good. Like, this is just excess cheese. We can cut that off or that off for clarity. Maybe should have done it as 4, like I was saying before, and just cut it into 4 individual pieces there. I'm gonna open a window here because we're getting a bit smoky. But I think this turned out pretty well. Could we have gotten better color on the top of this? Potentially, yes. I think maybe a different cheese maybe would have been a potential different choice. But it is looking so nice and light and flaky. Like, yeah. Yeah, I probably should have done that as 4. Oh well. Could have done a smaller wheel of actual Brie. If we did them as an actual wheel of Brie on each of these, I think that would have been the better play there if I were to return to this. I wish I could find those. There was a company that I used to be able to buy these like perfect little squares of puff pastry that were great, like had great flavor to them. They puffed up nicely. Can't find them anymore. Place that was selling them isn't selling them anymore. So yeah, I think these turned out pretty nice. I think they, like I said, a little experimentation, a little work with it. They could be gorgeous too with color. Working with cheese, working with your puff pastry, maybe working with if you need to par bake the apples beforehand. So that is dessert. We'll get some photos of those later. And we have this beautiful thing resting here. We're going to let that continue to rest. We're going to finish our salad. Hit this with a touch more salt. Add our dried goods in. Our sunflower seeds, or yeast extract. and bacon bits. And we have salad time. Where is my sauce spoon? Oh, dad joke. What is yeast? I said yeast extract. Yeast extract is more of a Vegemite or Marmite, but nutritional yeast, which I meant to say there, is yummy in salads. It's a protein source. It's a good flavor source. It's sort of cheesy, sort of, but it's yummy, and it's vegan and all of that good jazz. Thank you for the subscription. Greatly appreciate that, Famoose. Resub. So, yeah. Vegan, low in sodium, no artificial. Yep. It's cheese-like, savory flavor. Makes a delicious, nutritious alternative for cheese. Good stuff. Good stuff. Grab a photo of that for the Discords. Wrong photo settings. Need to retake that. Wish I had some bread. Soak up all of that. That right there is sexy. Butter's been out long enough that it's practically room temp. So it's nice and soft when I throw it on here. There we have it, folks. There is dinner for tonight on Sunday night. So what we doing tomorrow, chat? What's in the plans for tomorrow? What great successes are we achieving tomorrow? I don't know because the calendar is still going to the wrong account. We're doing harissa chicken, feta, and shallot pizza. I totally forgot that I was planning to do that. That sounds delicious. It sounds completely unconventional as far as pizza, but those all things sound like they would go great together. So harissa chicken, feta cheese, and some shallots for pizza tomorrow night. So probably a little bit of a quicker stream tomorrow night. But we'll be starting 4:30 Pacific as usual. Got many more fun things coming up here in the weekend, rest of the week. Still not doing ingredient challenges this week. We're going to start them next week. And so I'm doing an open-faced pastrami sandwich on Wednesday to celebrate National Pastrami Day. At least I think it's National Hot Pastrami Sandwich Day. I'm just doing it open-faced to make it my way. Friday, we're going to be doing Can It Be Delicious, bringing that back for the first time in the new year. Got all sorts of cans in the house, so we got to work our way through those. Lastly, we have next Sunday, we're going to be doing the redemption for our clip winner, Noimu, and going to be doing a Middle Eastern lentil and rice dish. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing this right, but mujadara. And I think I'm going to be doing a salad. I think I'm doing eggs with that to give it some protein. So that's what's coming up here in the next week. I hope you all have a great start to your week. I hope you've had a great weekend. And let's see, is there anyone out there in Streamerland tonight? I think I'm going to leave it right here for tonight. And I hope to see you all back here tomorrow night. Have a great night, everyone.